Hello, y'all. My name is Reagan, and this is my social media campaign for my health and exercise psychology course. Let's get into it. So, my goal for my social media campaign was to provide dancers dealing with hypermobility, like myself, with information on how to prevent injury via a technique called muscle loading. I will explain this later in one of my posts. I used the theory of planned behavior for my campaign because I believe personally that the theory itself was best when it came to the adoption and adherence of the main focus of the exercise because of what I will explain later in one of my posts. As with any social media campaign, there is going to be a focus or purpose for each post. So each of my social media posts had one or two main goals that I had in mind. And the first two posts had ideas that built off of each other, with the last post giving examples of exercises that could be used for either injury prevention or rehabilitation. So my first post was mainly meant to draw the crowd in. So it's like a call out, like, hey, are you this? Do you relate to this? And it gives definition. So it's your main information and it's getting you curious. With the second post being explaining the exercise behavior that is like, oh, if this felt reasonable to you in post one, here's something that you can do to combat it or prevent it. Along with that, here's a behavior that will keep you coming back for more, you know? And I also, and as I explained the theory, I do in fact also have my sources listed in these posts. However, for my final post, I did actually do 3 exercises targeted to 3 different body parts, along with demonstrating my exercise behavior. This one did not touch on the behavior theory, but it was me actually doing the exercises. So you will have 3 exercises that I am physically doing. I targeted first the ankles, then the knees, and the shoulders, because for me, those are 3 body parts that I have injured, and my physical therapist has shown me those exercises via muscle loading, which is how I learned about this technique. And I actually um, got interested in the subject because of her, and that's mainly why I chose this topic. So as you can see, this is post one, and I turned my camera off so you could see the full view, but let me explain it as if you were just coming across this on social media. So as you can see, it's, are you a hypermobile dancer? Do you have issues with chronic injuries? Well, I have the program for you. And as you can see at the top, there is a definition of hypermobility that states hypermobility. This is described as having an increased range of motion that is outside of the standard metrics, from Graham 1990. And then it's another one in the upper right corner under the main call out says, did you know hypermobility in dancers has been known to be as high as around 44% from Day and his associates from an article that was published in 2011. And then my last little source of information at the bottom right corner states, according to Day et al., hypermobility could be a less severe form of a connective tissue heritable disorder, but they still don't truly know. Again, from the article published in 2011. Well, here I have a catch as a fully drawing you in, interested in the possibility of fewer injuries while developing and maintaining strength. And because I want to highlight that I am, in fact, the one of the main sources and users of this program, I have two photos of me actually dancing in this presentation. Like I mentioned in the beginning, my second post leads off and piggybacks off of my first post. So now I have the second post, which states muscle loading for injury prevention based on the theory of planned behavior. And I mainly have definitions here, which says muscle loading is a process that is used to not only prevent but heal injuries, from Impellizzali and Associates in a 2020 article, so it's very recent. And the goal of muscle loading is to stimulate the aggravated muscle via loading, which basically means to put more and more and more weight on it so that it activates and will initiate the response. However, I put also here, Impellizzari et al. Stated that effective muscle loading is only accomplished when there is a combined effort of internal and external loading so that the focus can be solely on the individual's training outcomes. So always do remember that it can't just be external or internal. You have to do both, and it has to be based on the individual. So my physical therapists, remember that, please. Yes. Anyway, and then as a little dip into the theory of planned behavior, I have over here the theory of planned behavior states that someone's own intentions to do something mirror the likelihood of that person actually doing said behavior. By using the theory of planned behavior, the person creating the exercise plan is able to predict whether the client is going to adhere and adopt different exercise plans. This is from Boznjak and Associates from 2020. And to make the post not as boring, I added photos of muscles, weight, and, a little fun avoid injury thing, just to add some fun. Anyway, moving right along. That brings us to the last post, as beautifully narrated once again by me. Let's get it in 3, 2, 1. Examples of muscle loading exercises. Let's go! These are resisted heel raises. Using an exercise band tied around your ankles, lift your heels off the floor. Make sure not to lock out your ankles and keep your heels from curving under. Next, we have weighted airplane lunges. This can be done with the weight in the air or at chest level. I decided to do chest level during this time. Remember to try not to wobble like I did here. Yes, give me some grace. I haven't done these in a while. Here's how it should look from the front. For proper safety, remember to stack your knees over your ankles and your hips over your knees. And engage your core. Where should you be feeling this? You should be feeling it in your ankle, your quads, and your hamstrings. And here is the last exercise. These are called clock pullouts. What you're going to do is you are going to pull out counting the numbers on a clock, ignoring the numbers 6 and 12. You will go all the way around, and then you will flip it and reverse it. This exercise is really good if you have a shoulder injury or just really, like, if you have issues winging out. Something to focus on is having your arms in front of you as if you were doing a wall push-up and making sure your hands never lose contact with the wall. Thank you. And as any good researcher does, here is my works cited page so you can see all my information and where I got it. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.